Yeah! Welcome, everyone. It is episode 311 of everyone's favorite wrestling podcast, The Marks. I am the brainless one. We just had ourselves the WWE draft this past weekend, and obviously between Friday's SmackDown, the stuff that kind of carried over through the weekend on whatever the WWE programming is that they did it on for Saturday for the draft. And then obviously they had the second day where half of the roster was available on Monday. What's up, Timmy? So they finished up the draft on Monday. Quite a few surprise selections. I'll admit I was kind of surprised by some of the picks that were made. Some of them I was kind of, not really shocked to see getting the call up from NXT. But I mean, it was a interesting draft. We do have Backlash tomorrow. I'm excited for that. I mean, the card actually looks. This might. Yeah. What's up, cousin Jay?
Hey, a whole bunch in wrestling. I mean, we got a pay-per-view, aka premium live event this weekend, and all sorts of crazy stuff going on. Jerry McDevitt clearly has made a deal with the devil, and I'm just going to say I've never seen the devil and Vince McMahon in the same room. So,
yeah. But wait, cousin Jay, we have seen the devil and Vince McMahon in the same room because they're one and the same. But, I mean, we did also have the WWE draft this past weekend.
We did.
We got an update on the ticket sales in regards to the All-In show at Wembley in England. I'm really impressed by that.
Tony Khan tismed about some of the reporting from ESPN. I mean, and rightly so.
Yeah. And there's a whole bunch of shit that just happened this week.
Yeah.
So is there anything in particular you would like to start off with?
I'll you know what? When the really bad stuff happens, we tend to start with that. For once, let's not do that. I'm going with Pat McAfee and his wife welcoming their first baby, and it's been quite a journey for he and his wife to have a child. Congratulations to Pat McAfee, future WWE Hall of Famer, hopefully returning announcer at some point, because Michael Cole said he won't slow down until McAfee returns. So we'll see how all that goes. But congratulations to him, his wife, and whole family.
Yeah, congratulations to Pat. I know that they've been having, they were having some issues having a child at first, and I heard this was like their last chance ditch effort. And I'm happy for him. He really at one point was my favorite part about WWE. Just the way that he transitioned into the commentator role on SmackDown was just incredible. He was just an absolute delight. And I really, of all the people, I really am happy for him because he really does deserve it.
Yeah. So, so that was that. Super psyched for him, super psyched for his family. And, with that going on, clearly wrestling will not be at the top of his list anytime soon. So,
no, it will not.
He said his daughter has watched Top Gun every day of her life so far.
That's fantastic.
There you go.
There's other good news that happened this week. Gunther, arguably the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time, Gunther got married to Ginny this week. I want to say it was sometime after the draft, so congratulations to Gunther on the marriage.
And I believe WWE was doing a short European tour, I think it was like while they were there, he was like, "All right, yep, good time to get married." I mean, dude's been going at it hard, for quite a while in the pro wrestling business. And, he found his person, and good for him and good for her.
Yeah.
She was in NXT, and an injury has stopped her career, but, good for them.
Yeah.
And I saw a couple of videos posted and a couple of pictures posted about it. Like they showed Gunther dancing. I forget which superstar it was who posted it, but
Superstar.
Cool seeing him, out of character and just kind of having a good time.
Yes. And again, happy for both of them too. And real quickly, since we are talking about Gunther, I saw something online earlier this morning and it really blew my mind. I wish I had wrote down all of the names that I actually saw on the list, but I actually saw the list of all the matches in WWE that Dave Meltzer gave 5 stars or more to. Gunther has almost half of them.
Yeah.
Because he's on there 5 times. I don't even think there was 5 matches in WWE before Gunther even got there.
Right.
That were 5-star matches. So I just thought that was interesting.
So you brought up that, you kind of sort of consider him the greatest intercontinental champion of all time. So one of the things apparently WWE really, really wants to do is they want to change the history books and or have new chapters in the history books. And if you're going to remove some of, the old guard, you have to have people have really long reigns.
Yeah. I see what you did there.
See what I did? Yeah.
Yeah?
So, I don't think they're going to have Roman beat the record of Bruno Sammartino, but I'm going to say they may have him pass Hulk Hogan.
He's definitely getting to 1,000.
I don't know if he'll get to Bob Backlund, but I'm going to say he may get to Hulk Hogan.
He's definitely getting to 1,000 days. After Cody lost to him at WrestleMania, I've never been more confident of anything in my life. Roman Reigns is getting to 1,000.
Supposed to be May 27th at Night of Champions, and that will be day 1,000.
Oh, then what do I think? Maybe it's a Pedro Morales. He's going to definitely pass Pedro Morales.
Yeah, Pedro Morales is before the 4-year reign that Hogan had that went from when he beat Sheik to when he lost to Andre.
Doesn't Hulk Hogan have to come back and fight Roman Reigns? That should be the thing. The night Reigns passes Hulk Hogan, he should wrestle Hulk Hogan.
Why not? Party's over, Grandpa.
This is my yard, Grandpa.
Mm.
Hulk Hogan, acknowledge me. Well, let me tell you something, brother.
But, having him pass people like Morales, Hogan, having Gunther pass the honkometer, and having Bianca, have the record for the WWE Raw title. I mean, nobody is going to pass the Fabulous Moolah. We all know that, and I know they, they'll act like that doesn't exist. I mean, she was the women's champion for 26 years?
Only because she was booking herself as champion.
And then the Wendy Richter screw job.
Yep. Oh, I remember that. Oh.
Yeah. But I'm all for it. I mean, how long on this podcast did we talk about the hot potato titles and you're not going to take this title seriously until somebody holds it and wins it and has a long-lasting reign that's memorable. Reigns has had a lot of memorable matches during this title run.
Right.
Gunther has had a lot of memorable matches in his title run. So has Bianca. So it's not just putting it on the title to keep it on them for a long time, that they actually are doing stuff to warrant you feeling like it's important and it's
Right.
making more distinguished. Now we argue about the new heavyweight title taking away a little bit of the luster from what they've been doing with Roman, but I'm cool with them letting people have long reigns, because when they finally lose, it'll be like, holy crap, they lost.
Right. It was like when The Undertaker lost to Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. How many people's reactions were like, holy shit, we saw something we never thought exactly. So many looks like, I can't believe we saw what we never thought we would see.
Yeah.
It's when he finally loses, and whoever beats him, my God, the push they're going to get for that. You beat the tribal chief. You beat the man who made it 1,104 days as undisputed Universal Champion. I mean, it's not, over 3,000 days, because nobody will ever surpass Mr. Axel.
Right. I mean,
but
truer words have never been said. And by the way, I mean, spoiler alert, it keeps on getting larger every week.
Yes, it does. It very much does. But I'm actually glad you mentioned the World Heavyweight Championship, because there was something that has been on my mind because of how I thought they were going to be potentially doing the World Heavyweight Championship. I just heard how they're going to do it now. Now I have no idea what to think. But let's say, for argument's sake, Cody Rhodes is the winner of the triple threat match from Raw this Monday and then wins the championship at Night of Champions. Does that lessen Cody's win because he didn't finish the story going after Roman? Or is this just like, here, we feel bad, here's the belt?
My original thought and belief was that, so when Triple H originally announced this new title, he said that the new champion would be on the opposite show of Roman. They've held the draft, right?
Yes.
And I was like, okay, these are all the Raw superstars that they have here. And in my mind, this is the scenario that was playing out. The finals were going to be between Cody and Seth Rollins, and Seth was finally going to get a win over Cody. And Cody was going to be like, Seth finally getting his win, but, Cody, couldn't win it. If they end up having Cody win this thing, it will cheapen the whole storyline by a lot. And it is not the title. It doesn't have the lineage of the title that his father was trying to get. Cody, right. In my view, Cody is still the guy that's going to take the title off Roman.
Okay.
I'll stick by that. So it might be another year and a half from now. It might be 2 years from now. I think it's going to be Cody that does it to beat Roman, because it's going to be like the constant almost but not quite there, almost but not quite there. And there will be this explosion because he will finally do it at WrestleMania 41. and it'll be the first time Roman has been pinned in 5.5 years. I mean, it's not quite on Giant being undefeated for 15 years, but that's my belief. But the fact that they made this tournament where you're going to have 2 triple threat matches on Raw, whoever wins the triple threat matches then goes against each other.
Yep.
And for whatever reason, they're having 2 triple threat matches on SmackDown. And the winner of those 2 matches will go against each other. Again, Triple H said the winner will end up on Raw. Why draft to put people specific shows,
Yep.
only to now involve the people that are not on Raw into a Raw championship. Will that now put that person, if it happens to be a SmackDown person winning this, onto Raw? I'm confused as heck by the fact that SmackDown is involved with this in any way.
The only thing I can think of in this scenario is if for whatever reason that the winner of the triple threat who goes on to go one-on-one in the main event on SmackDown, probably in the main event on SmackDown, to go after the World Heavyweight Championship and the person on Raw, could they do a thing that maybe the winner of the SmackDown, if it is the SmackDown person who wins it, is that their way that they can trade that person to Raw and how they can bring Cody Rhodes to SmackDown?
That could be a thing they do. This could be a way. I know Paul Heyman's been hinting at it, that Roman Reigns, in one of the greatest troll jobs of all time, if Roman Reigns enters this tournament as a SmackDown representative and wins his triple threat match and then wins, his one-on-one match and then wins at Night of Champions,
Paul
would
Heyman
be the greatest time.
Paul Heyman even mentioned it on Raw. And I even hate the fact to admit that I've watched more live Monday Night Raw this week than I have in a long time, because it's just a lot easier to cut through all the bullshit when you don't have to deal with the bullshit. But I stayed up as long as I could because everybody knows nobody can make it to 3 hours of Monday Night Raw. But
Right.
Paul Heyman did come out and say that Roman could do it. Like Roman Reigns could be the World Heavyweight Champion. That would be the greatest troll job of all time, Jay. At least in wrestling history. Second.
Right.
Second. The finger poke of doom will always be the ultimate troll job that has ever happened in professional wrestling.
Right. Very true. Very true. So, got a couple of people mentioning Drew McIntyre out here. So apparently Drew is still injured and needs at least a few more weeks before he's healthy enough to do anything. Oh, by the way, Drew was removed from the Money in the Bank, advertisements. They're going to be in England, in the United Kingdom. You would think, hey, we've got somebody from United Kingdom. We got Drew McIntyre representing Scotland. It would be good to have him on the poster. Either he is still several weeks away, or all these reports of him being upset about creative direction and them being far apart on money. I said I believe Drew was going to stay with WWE, and this was all just smoke and mirrors, using smoke and mirrors. But exactly, there were some reports that were saying this week that it was likely Drew McIntyre was going to end his time with WWE come the end of this year. I'm slowly but surely kind of shifting a little bit as far as what's going on with Drew, and it has more than anything to do with the fact of the merger with Endeavor in WWE, and they're on a quote-unquote hiring freeze, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, doesn't stop you from re-signing talent, but if you're trying to do cost-cutting things and you have a talent that you like an awful lot, but love Drew McIntyre, but he's not Roman. He's not Brock. He's not John Cena. Exactly.
Because we could actually see Drew.
Yes. You know, is this one of those things where Drew is going to be a victim of this merger, and that's why WWE has been lowballing him? I don't know what Drew's asking for, but I'm sure he's like, hey, I'm kind of near the top of the card. I've got the look you like. And more than Bill Goldberg, when Drew McIntyre, if Drew McIntyre has this feeling that WWE kind of owes him a little bit, I think they do.
They do.
He did not win the championship in front of anything but one fan. And they screwed up at Cardiff. They really did. They wouldn't have to have a World Heavyweight Championship right now if they just made that specific match for the WWE title. That way you could keep Roman on his run with the Universal Championship for as long as he's had it. So my belief at this point is like maybe Drew will be gone from WWE at the end of the year, and it has everything to do with the merger. Drew will eventually be back in WWE. He's not gone forever if he goes. If he goes.
My thing is, and I had to mention this because you did the Cody Rhodes thing. I was actually also thinking of a wrestling entrance, out of time to say goodbye.
Yeah.
What is your? That's exactly like what they're hearing. I appreciate Drew McIntyre. I've never been like one of his biggest fans. I think that the growth of the beard has made me actually think he's a legitimate threat instead of looking like the son of Marla Hooch from A League of Their Own. So I like Drew. I like to see him stay. He has. Where is he going to go? AEW?
I would honestly prefer to see him in something like New Japan. I don't know if that would be something he would want to do. I don't know if he would want to do like Matt Cardona, a.k.a. Zack Ryder, has done. Go on the independents and do your thing for a bit. I mean, when he was released from WWE several years ago, that's what Drew McIntyre did. He built his name on the independents. He had done stuff with Impact. He had gone to a couple of the major places, but like showed that he was a draw. He came back to NXT and, you know, he won the NXT championship, got injured, came back, went to the main roster and, you know, has done some really good work since then. And really carried the company during the Thunderdome era.
Thunderdome, brother.
Yeah.
And I agree. He was the MVP of the COVID era because he held the championship. It's a shame that he did not actually get a reign while the fans were there. And again, like you said, they dropped the ball by having him not win the title at Clash at the Castle. So Drew's got to do what's best for Drew at the end of the day.
You know, and if he did, for whatever reason, end up in AEW, you know, they've got the new show Collision that is starting up in a little over a month and a half. Is he part of that? You know, you gotta have main eventers on both shows, even if you're doing a soft brand split, you know, to not have, you know, certain people cross paths. So Drew McIntyre would be, you know, a big get in my view for AEW. But in the same breath, like, I don't know, he feels like such a WWE guy. But you know what? Your body can only take so much for so long, and you go wherever the money is. If WWE, because of this Endeavor merger, isn't paying you what you feel you're worth, if you're getting offered more money to work less dates in AEW, go and take it.
Yeah.
But, you know, clearly Drew could still go because he shared the ring and had a 5-star match at WrestleMania.
Yeah. And honestly, his match with Roman at the Castle was pretty awesome too.
I mean,
and hold on. And let's not forget banger after banger after banger after banger he's had with Sheamus.
yes. The Banger Brothers. Oh, wait. Wait.
That lasted about as long as the Katie Vick storyline.
Mike Rainey, you know what? I think if Drew ended up in AEW for, like, Tony Khan would push him to the moon.
Oh yeah.
He's a big dude who can go, talks pretty well, and just has a presence about him. I think they would do right by him as long as they don't give him the TNT title. Good.
I don't even know. You know what's funny? I don't even know who the TNT champion is anymore.
I think it's Wardlow.
Did he lose it after he won it like a week or two ago? Because they got to be long.
He took the hot potato out of the oven, and I think he's checking to see if it's officially cooked.
Who is going to be the person to hold the TNT championship as many times as R-Truth held the 24/7 title?
Darby Allin.
I like it. So that means he's going to win after he has his pillars thing with MJF and the other two jabronis. He'll win the TNT title back.
Yes.
Because somehow he has to win it back so he could fight Nick Wayne for it, or somebody has to fight Nick Wayne for it. I don't know. Somebody has to do it, but I don't remember. They've had so many different TNT champions, it's starting to lose luster. It is now their 24/7 title.
There's no starting to lose luster. I mean, at this point, you or I could be the TNT champion. That's how much respect has been put on that title since the passing of Brody Lee.
I'd say after Cody dropped it the third time.
Miro had a respectable run with that, but with what they've done with Miro since then, my hope is now that they've gotten rid of Elevation and Dark because they're doing the new show Collision, bring Miro onto the new show and start something with him there. Make
or
him
release
into
him.
something there. Right.
Either it's, as the old saying would be, shit or get off the pot.
Yeah.
Either do whatever the hell you're going to do with Miro or just let him go.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about that, the new show. We could talk about it in a future episode because I know we have a bunch of other stuff we have to get into. But I do want, because there's a couple of things I want to talk about with that, but we could do that later on.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to touch base with?
Well, so CM Punk has continued his world tour of professional wrestling organizations. A weekend, or a little over a week and a half ago, he visited Monday Night Raw. This past week, he visited Impact Wrestling. I don't know if he's specifically trying to, like, if he's trying to do this to say, like, hey, look, people don't think I'm such a bad guy. I show up at places and they take pictures with me and yada, yada, yada. And they're seeing you for 5 minutes, Phil. To be fair, they don't get to see the asshole side of you in 5 minutes. But it definitely feels like he's like he wants to be a mosquito bite for somebody in AEW.
Yes.
Probably the Bucks.
For the EVPs, for the 3 people who could make some legitimate money with CM Punk, who don't want to, because clearly their art that they perform in the ring is more important than them making money. Because at the end of the day, no matter what you do, it's all about making money. And clearly those 3 don't.
But the thing is, they could do both. They could make art with CM Punk and make money. But they're all in their feelings.
It kind of goes with what I was going to talk about with the new show going forward. Because if they are doing this thing with splitting the roster, doing the soft split, like you said, so they can have the Blackpool Combat Club, which is now the new factory in AEW. And yeah, oh God. I can't. I think they lost 70,000 viewers after QTV the last time it was on AEW Dynamite. But the Blackpool Combat Club and the Elite can't get along with CM Punk, so you're going to move CM Punk, FTR, and all the people that get along with FTR and CM Punk to the show on Saturday. I want to see what the ratings are going to look like. And no matter what whatever picture you paint it, if CM Punk and the Land of Misfit Toys on Saturday go and put on better ratings than what Twinkle Toes and the Hartley Boys do on Wednesdays with Plumber Mox blading himself, I want to see that. I want to see what the ratings are going to look like for Collision, and I want to see what the ratings are going to look like for Dynamite. Because Collision's going to be basically where all the guys who can actually wrestle are going to go, and Dynamite is going to be where the Indies wrestlers fight. So we could get Hangman Page in a no-holds-barred match with whoever, because it's going to be everybody. Jon Moxley's going to bleed every Wednesday. We're going to get Carry On My Wayward Son, and Kenny and the Bucks are going to come out, and the crowd goes mild. I mean, I really want to see, because this is what I want to see more than anything else. I want to see Punk and the Bucks and Kenny on opposite shows and see where the ratings go. Because if Punk brings all the ratings with him to Saturday, what's that going to say about your EVPs?
I would greatly appreciate a Lions Den match between somebody from the Elite and Punk, even despite the fact that Punk, in his 2 UFC matches, kind of got his ass kicked a lot. he clearly knows his stuff. He's just not an elite level, combat fighter. But I want to see him against either Twinkle Toes or the Buckaroos.
The Buckaroos?
In a match.
Oh no, because I'm convinced that's the reason why they don't want to do business with Punk. Because they're afraid to get in the ring with them. Because they went into his locker room and he beat the shit out of them. And my cousin Chris,
He might be my cousin who I have to check in on that.
It's probably a guarantee. Our cousin Chris had to bite Twinkle Toes.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to ask him that the next time we see him at a family reunion.
Yes, with Uncle Ray.
With Uncle Ray and a koozie with a Budweiser in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's wait, I gotta make sure though. It's the Cowboys koozie with the Yankees hat, correct? That's the combination.
That's Uncle Ronnie. That's not Uncle Ray.
Oh, I know that's not Uncle Ray. That's definitely Uncle Ronnie. Uncle Ronnie definitely has the koozie. I'm talking about that. We know that with Uncle Ray, it's his world famous chicken wings. As long as
yes.
I mean, it's got to be Uncle Ron with the Yankees hat, with the Cowboys koozie, with a Budweiser in there.
Thank God it's not Sam Adams.
It's not crap beer. To be fair, I'm not an overly huge fan of Sam Adams. It's too hoppy for me. Oktoberfest, though, is absolutely delicious.
Yes. So you did mention Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley will be returning to New Japan Pro Wrestling. This will be the first time he has actually gone to Japan in quite a while. Mm-hmm. It's been a couple of years. When New Japan was running shows and running TV during the pandemic, they did some shows in the United States, and Moxley was a part of those.
Right.
But Moxley will be going to Japan for Dominion, and it's rumored that he will be in a 6-man tag match. And I heard the sports books are putting the betting odds that he will bleed within the first 5 minutes.
All I know is that the team that they're going up against are the Trios champions in New Japan. They're the brand new Trios champions in New Japan. And it's a team that consists – I know 2 of the 3 guys. Oh, no, I do know all 3. It's Tanahashi. It's Ishii, the baked potato. That's how I remember him. And it's the GOAT Okada.
Yeah.
So Plumber Mox wants to wrestle Okada.
Hey, woman.
I used to like Moxley too. Now I can't. And it has really nothing to do with like what Cornette has said. He bleeds way too much, and that blade job on Dynamite really just did it for me a few months ago. Like it was just like that. That was just so blatant. Oh. He was my favorite member of the Shield.
Production crew than Moxley. To be fair,
true, but it was getting a little obnoxious. I mean, it's been getting obnoxious. The fact that they've celebrated the 1 week he didn't blade is all you need to know.
You know what? There's nothing that's going to rival Curtis Axel. Maybe they have the like it's been X number of days of a safe work environment. Maybe we need to have like it's been X number of days since Jon Moxley has bled on television.
Okay, I'm in.
Okay. So we've been talking a little bit of AEW. Rumor has it that they have all the promotional materials for Fight Forever ready to go. That they have fixed many of the bugs within the game, but we still don't have a release date. I'll put money on it. The game will be released this century.
Jay, this is how long they've been working on this video game. Since they started creating this video game, Veer was coming. He showed up, beat up Dominic, ended up back in NXT, and then got drafted back to, I believe it was Raw, if I'm not mistaken. I wish it was SmackDown, but I think it's Raw. That's fine. It could be Raw. I'm okay with that. But Veer has came twice since they started doing this video game.
As much as I'm Punk shouldn't have done what he done or said what he said, but it kind of proves the point. If Kenny was supposed to be the guy mainly managing getting this game together, here we are, years later. Clearly, he can't manage a target. He can't manage the game. Like when they Fight Forever, clearly they're talking about trying to get this game released.
Oh yeah.
Have to put CM Punk back on the front cover of it.
Jay, they're going to have to update the cover because there's going to be different people in the company by the time this game gets released. Kenny Omega's going to have Sting's going to retire.
Jericho will still be there, so that's fine.
I mean, yeah, that's because his contract's for like another 8 years. Of course, Sting's going to retire. Jeff
have on that game a first blood match. I would take Moxley every match.
Why, Jay? You're going to lose. It's not if you bleed first. It's you make your opponent bleed first.
No, I would do that just to be oddly ironic.
Because, Jay, all you would do is hit, like, the up button and he'll pull out a blade and just slice himself. He won't even need his...
lose the match every week.
Oh. I heard that was part of the reason that they couldn't get production on it because there was too much blood in the game.
I've heard that that's Moxley's ending move.
Bloodbath.
Blades and then tries to blow up the ring.
With Eddie King, but somehow Eddie Kingston comes running out. He puts himself on Moxley as the ring's exploding. You unlocked friendship mode. Oh, the road to All Out. Moxley and Kenny. Kenny. Yeah, Moxley and Kenny Omega. Oh.
All right. We've talked a little bit about Jericho here. Jericho is actually about to be in a movie on Up TV called Country Hearts. And Jericho, it seems like he is playing, this might sound like an oxymoron, but I'm going to say it anyway, a major bit part.
I heard he's supposed to be the lead role.
He's like the father of, I think, the person that's supposed to be the lead. Maybe I'm wrong.
Hey,
But
there's nothing wrong. Honestly, there's nothing wrong with playing the father of the lead role. Terry Bradshaw played the father of the lead role in a movie.
Yeah. But his name in this movie, Country Hearts, is called Bones Jameson. I bet he drinks whiskey.
I don't know. Jericho's more of a vodka guy.
But Bones is not. Maybe Bones is like Ron Swanson. Maybe he goes to Scotland. Maybe he finds the one part of Europe that he really enjoys.
He doesn't put anything on his hamburger. He just eats it.
Yes.
Here's some ketchup if you'd like. I don't care.
Right. But reports are, like, I think they've finished shooting the movie and they've already ordered a sequel. But it will be on Up TV, and good for Jericho getting an acting role and being out there. Speaking of being an actor and getting out there, kind of sort of WWE Hall of Famer, but kind of denied it, and then is waiting for an audience to be there when he goes and gets inducted eventually. Dave Bautista is in Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which is coming out technically, I think, yesterday evening, but tonight. So Batista playing Drax the Destroyer once again. I've heard many things about how not all the Guardians are going to survive this movie. Batista has said this is the last time he is playing Drax. It's getting harder and harder for him to get in Drax shape. So I'm looking forward to see Guardians 3 and seeing if Big Dave does not last. I have a feeling he is not going to.
You know who else isn't going to make it either, in my opinion? Burt Macklin, FBI.
In interviews, Chris Pratt has definitely said, well, with it being, multiverse, that he hasn't outright said that he's going to not survive the movie, but he is kind of sort of implied that maybe he doesn't. So.
I mean, that just could be Chris Pratt just trolling on people too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Miss Snake Hole. Think I let you get away with it that easy?
All right. So one thing that this might be the most shocking thing that I read about in all of professional wrestling this week. Alicia Fox was still employed by WWE up until a couple months ago. Alicia Fox.
And somewhere is Noam Dar too.
I am very happy that Alicia Fox has, seemingly gotten over her substance abuse issues, and as long as she's clean and healthy and if she wants to go and continue in her professional wrestling career, I hope she finds employment and goes out there and gets what she wants. Clearly, WWE did not, they brought her back every once in a while for like a Royal Rumble appearance, and that was about it. But they didn't want to bring her back, and she's not that old. She's younger than many on the roster. I think at this point, I think she's only 30. So if she wanted to, I mean, she could still do a lot in the wrestling ring if she wants to. Not entirely dissimilar to Riddle, but like if you go back to the wrestling ring, keep your sobriety over everything.
And don't
let.
I was going to say, and don't dance to the ring while your brother's getting his ass kicked.
Yes. That is good, solid advice.
Oh, boy. What just fell?
But I was honestly shocked to hear that she was actually still employed by WWE.
Same. When I saw that she was released, I was like, is this an old article?
What? And then I saw another article not that long after that about the Headbangers. They no longer call them Legends contracts, but they call them Nostalgia contracts. I think I like the phrasing of Legends contracts better, but the Headbangers have signed a Nostalgia Act deal with WWE. Mosh and Thrasher, tag team champions during the Attitude Era, came back, what was it, a handful of years ago?
7 years.
And did a handful of matches. Hey, good for them for getting a payday and going out there and being citizens of the WWE universe of madness.
As long as he continues to just be Mosh with his Legends or Special Endeavors contract that he has. Because if he's anything else, no.
Yeah.
Beaver cleavage. Just saying.
All right. So, a couple other things. We should have announced this earlier as part of kind of the beginning of the show, where we were talking about Gunther getting married to Ginny, Pat McAfee having having a baby who has watched Top Gun every day of her life. But Corey Graves and Carmella are expecting.
Yep.
Congratulations to them. And clearly, Carmella will not be on TV for Corey Graves to fawn over during commentary. I know that was his version of Nakamura, and some.
You know what? They could always bring back Mandy Rose on a short-term deal and just have her be the one that Corey Graves does his verbiage to.
God's greatest creation.
It was always funny when he was doing that when she was in the ring as he was talking about Mandy Rose. Like, we already know you're with Carmella.
Right. Ella, hey. But Corey Graves and Carmella, good for you. Congratulations. And yeah.
Yeah? Yes, congratulations to the two of you. I saw the video where Carmella told Corey Graves' kids that she was going to be a mom, and it was a very nice, touching moment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good shit, pal.
that is actual good shit, pal. Fully.
So WWE has signed another gold medalist. Tamira Mensah Stock, who is a gold medalist, female wrestler, has signed with WWE, and I hope she translates better. And this isn't to say that he won't eventually translate better than Gable Steveson. Hope.
Yeah, and I think that's a great signing. I think that was the girl that there was a clip of, and there was like I was like, damn, I'm like she would actually make it as a wrestler because she's got that personality. I wonder if that's the same one. I'm gonna have to look back on it and see if it was, because there was a girl at the Olympics recently who won I think the gold, and one of the things was she just like the way she carried herself, and I was like, yeah, she's kind of got that almost
Right.
like the Rock in her type of thing. You know, she's got that charisma, and I'm like, yeah, if you're a wrestler, that's two things right off the bat. So,
Right.
I think it's a good thing. I think that bringing in people like that, I mean, it worked. Hey, just remember, Jay, the bar is very, very high. Oh, wait. Yeah, there it is. The bar is very high. And, right, exactly. Kurt Angle, I mean, we're talking about Kurt Angle here. We're not talking about, Ronda Rousey. We're talking about Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
So I'd just be curious to see how it works. Because honestly, I think if Gable got in there and started training a little bit more, because look at his brother's actually pretty decent. His brother can actually handle himself in the ring. He just has to develop a little bit more of the, talking. But Damon Kemp could actually go in the ring. I actually like watching him wrestle.
I mean, with Steveson, I'll say he just needs to develop at least 6 moves. 6.
But that's one more than John Cena.
That's all he needs.
A German suplex, a third German suplex, some modified Olympic slam, a clothesline, and an ankle lock. There you go. There's your 6 moves.
Yeah.
Or we could go with the Dave Bautista move set, which is 64 moves, and 61 of them is just patting his chest.
And mimicking the Ultimate Warrior.
He hated that rope when he did that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So, speaking of NXT things and what have you, poor Indy Hartwell. She got drafted to the main roster like right after she had won the NXT title, but you end up finding out that she messed up her ankle, whether it's broken or whether it's a severe sprain where it's going to take a long time for her to heal. Like, I don't know if you saw the pictures, but like
I saw the
it was
clip.
not a thing. It brutal.
It was not good. I saw the video. I was like, oh, that's one of those ones maybe I could watch like 2 or 3 times, and then I'm like, nah, I can't anymore. I'm done. It was bad, but it wasn't the worst I've ever seen, but it was not something I really want to see again.
So, with this, it seems like there are a lot of people who get championships now in NXT and they just get injured. And then somebody has to get attacked in the parking lot, the unsafest place possibly in the world. The Performance Center parking lot is really a tough place to be.
Oh, yeah, I agree. And I'm glad that you mentioned this with the whole NXT thing, because there's a few things I want to get off my chest about this. It's bad enough that, yes, you did draft the NXT Women's Champion, Indy Hartwell, to Raw. And I get it, at some point she was probably going to go up anyway, so just make the decision now. Have her vacate the title because she has a legitimate injury. Do another tournament because we just didn't have like a tournament to lead to another ladder match that led to the title change that you shouldn't even have done in the first place. But on top of that, the pick right before Indy Hartwell was the NXT Tag Team Champions, Isla Dawn and Kaylee Ray, who's now Alba Fire. And they weren't even champions that long. Maybe a month, maybe a little bit. Like, I think it was at WrestleMania, the weekend of WrestleMania, they won the titles. So it was basically a month ago. So you draft them to SmackDown, which, by the way, I'm excited for. Because I know that I had my opinions about Kaylee Ray when she first got to NXT UK. She can go in that ring. I have no problem with her abilities in the ring. She's actually an enjoyable person to watch in the ring. And Isla Dawn has really stepped up her game since she first debuted in NXT UK. And I like them as a tag team. They're a cohesive unit. And I've been saying it since they introduced these championships 4 years ago, Jay. They lack legitimate cohesive tag teams. Every cohesive tag team you had, you decided to break up for whatever reason. I hate it when they do that. But here they are. Now they're the champions. And then when they find out they get drafted, Katana Chance and Kaden Carter go up to him and say, well, we want a match with you on Wednesday for those tag team titles, and let's see what happens. Yes, let's see what happens, because later that weekend, Kaden Carter and Katana Chance get drafted to Raw.
Right.
So on Tuesday's NXT, you had the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships defended in a match between a tag team from SmackDown going up against a team from Raw. I know that officially the rosters go into effect starting after
May 8th.
Right after this weekend. After tomorrow's pay-per-view, the new rosters kick in. But it's still, you still had an NXT tag, or you had a SmackDown team versus a Raw team. And now, are they bringing the titles with them? Or are they finally going to actually unify the titles they should have unified in the first place? I don't get it. What is, you know what it is? It's because Shawn Michaels is down there running shit. That's the problem. Can they just do the switch? Can they just move Shawn Michaels to the main roster and he can just run around super kicking everybody in Stanford and just let Regal run NXT again? So that, and then he can bring his prodigal son, Butch Dunn, back to NXT so he can fight his real son, Pat Dempsey, or whatever his son's, Charlie Dempsey. So we can have
Charlie John.
It'd be Charlie Dempsey versus Pete Dunne in a William Regal in a shark cage match for the ladder match for the to have William Regal be their dad and they both win.
I mean, they could make it like the Ray versus Eddie Guerrero storyline for Dominic.
It would be. NXT's parking lot would the Performance Center parking lot would be a lot better if Shawn Michaels wasn't there, because they have the wrong person watching the monitors.
I wasn't going to say this, but now I'm going to say it. They talk about NXT possibly lacking direction. It's because the person running it.
Oh, what was it? It was Friday when they were doing the draft when it was him and the Roadkill, and they announced the pick for that whatever the third, fourth, 25th round. Don't really care. Once the Road Dogg came out, I wanted to turn off the television, and he goes, "You see, Shawn," and I'm like, "Really? Well, here's the thing, Road Dogg. Shawn Michaels is the only person on the roster who could actually look at you and the card with the draft pick on it at the same time. You're really gonna hate this one, Shawn. You're gonna lose Indy Hartwell." Yeah, I'm sure he's real devastated. He's losing Indy Hartwell. She might actually be the worst women's wrestler that was in NXT at the time, and that says a lot because one of the women wrestle in pajamas.
You mentioned the Road Dogg. Road Dogg this week.
Oh, you
talked
didn't know?
Wyatt. and there has been hired a new writer officially, specifically for Bray Wyatt. And the reason why Alexa Bliss has not returned to television is that she is supposed to return with Bray Wyatt. When is this going to happen? And do we care?
I actually do, because I was hoping that because of the fact that they didn't announce him, put him in the pool of the people to be drafted, that at the end of the draft on either Monday or Friday, that Bray Wyatt was going to come out there with his Wyatt 6 and just wreak havoc. Preferably on Monday, just wreak havoc on everybody. Excuse me. Him and Uncle Lousy and Alexa Bliss and and Eric Young and Captain Redbeard Wedgie, all of them just come out and just wreak havoc on everything. That's what I wanted, and we didn't get it, which is fine. But I really don't care, Jay. I really don't care. I've tried. I was so happy when they brought him back in October. I was so happy he was behind the White Rabbit. And then I watched the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match.
Yeah.
This is the half of the first year of your major multi-million-dollar investment, and all you have to show for it is a bunch of storytelling that has led to nowhere and a 3-minute match with cool lighting, and I don't know what the fuck I witnessed, but it was not good.
Yeah.
Jay, all I'm going to say with this whole Bray Wyatt thing, and then I'm going to put it to bed until he finally comes out. They better do something worthwhile with this. It better not be something stupid. They've put all this time, and they've wasted all of our freaking patience because we're all trying to figure out what the hell they're doing with Bray Wyatt. So just do something, anything. I just something that has to make sense. That's all I care about.
Okay. Something that doesn't make a lot of sense. Tessa Blanchard getting another opportunity in a wrestling ring. She has signed apparently a multiple show deal with XPW. And she will be having a match Saturday, May 27th. I think she's done a good enough job of canceling herself by things she said and done in the locker room. I mean, she's radioactive. I wouldn't do anything with her. Like, if I were the head of a wrestling organization, I would not bring her in. Just no.
I agree. And it's a shame because she really is an incredible talent. She could really go in the ring. She's actually pretty solid on the mic. She's got the lineage. She's got it all. She should be a multimillionaire, main event caliber wrestler in either WWE or AEW, and she's neither. She's wrestling in a wrestling organization that they literally pulled whatever 3 letters they could and put them together and said, this is a wrestling company. XJQ. All right, yeah. I can't wait.
QTV. Sad. Yeah. So last week we talked about Nick Aldis showing up at Impact, and allegedly, he didn't have a contract. Now the word out there is that he has signed a short-term deal and just kind of feeling things out to see if Impact Wrestling is a place he wants to stay for a while. Clearly, his wife is there. She's injured at the current moment, but she's been there for a bit. I'm sure he knows what's going on in there. It feels like he is trying to finally get his WWE opportunity by signing this short-term deal. It almost feels like he thinks this will take him beyond the hiring freeze that they have, and he will finally get to be with the big company. That's what I feel.
It makes a lot of sense, and honestly, it would also determine how long his contract is, up to like with Mickie James, because I know that before she got injured, it was the next time she lost, she had the Ric Flair deal. The next time she lost, she was done. Now, is she going to be done with professional wrestling, or is she just done with Impact Wrestling? And does that mean are they a package deal and they go back to she goes back to WWE and he goes with her?
Right.
I think that it makes a lot of sense. It really does, that he's just going to wait out the hiring freeze.
Right.
But
right, Tim has a very interesting match that we could go with in the future, maybe. Charlotte versus Tessa in a Go Away Forever match.
Go ahead.
I was going to say I have more. We can keep Charlotte around, just don't always have her in the title picture.
Agreed. Charlotte is not. I mean, she's probably a brat, but I mean, she's not toxic. Exactly. Tessa is just a bad person. Charlotte is just that they just shoved her down everybody's throat.
Tim said, "Let's make
everybody
it a triple
got tired
threat."
of seeing Charlotte in the main event picture, and they were just.
Yeah.
It had Sasha Banks. Oh.
Yep. Anyway.
Yeah.
10 list at some point of people that you really would like to see go away for a long time. I want to see regular Baron Corbin, current Baron Corbin, go away for a while, and or just go back to Olive Garden Corbin. Olive Garden Baron Corbin. I think that would be great. Yeah.
Hold on. The audio's a little off for me. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No worries.
But
I was just saying that I wanted to see, somebody like Baron Corbin return back to his Olive Garden roots. That's all.
And I heard you want a top 10 list of people that you want to have me see go. I want to see go away forever.
I mean, I know Twinkle Toes and the Bucks are on there.
Oh, wait until I get my list for tonight.
Yeah.
I was waiting for the segue. I figured we were going to do the draft, and then we're going to get to the people who are drafted. Then the segue was going to lead to the top 10 list.
I mean, we could wait a couple of minutes for that if you want to.
Yes, let's do that.
All right. Allegedly, Orlando, which has been home to a couple of, at least one WrestleMania 24. I think there was another one that was in Orlando. But they want to be the host city for the 2024 Royal Rumble.
Okay, I have no problem with that. I think it's great for them.
You know, WrestleMania 24. I mean, it has one of your least favorite matches of all time. Uh, it did have Ric Flair versus Shawn Michaels. We had that great Edge match versus the Undertaker playa, and I won't mention your favorite match on that card, but overall a pretty solid WrestleMania. And again, I think they had another one. Was it WrestleMania 34 there?
32 or 33. It was the one. Remember when they
Two,
stripped the title from Naomi?
32 was definitely Dallas.
And it had to be 33. It was whenever Naomi was stripped of the SmackDown title because she was injured, and then I think she beat Alexa Bliss. It was in Orlando. How I know this, I have no idea, but I remember the fact that she won it in her hometown because I remember we were discussing how the likelihood of her winning the championship in her hometown because people typically don't win in home. So,
right.
But I think this is great. I like to see them at the Amway Center, brother. You know, have the Royal Rumble there. Would they have it at a football stadium?
Yeah, they would probably have it at the Citrus Bowl like they had WrestleMania. I know with the Citrus Bowl, back during WrestleMania 24, like the Citrus Bowl, we'll just say was not the greatest of stadiums, but the production crew had really dressed it up to make it look like something. But they have put a bunch of money into the stadium to upgrade it, to make it, more modern and be something that doesn't feel like a shit stain when you go to it. So,
right.
And I'm not going to say all the time, but for the most part, if you're in Orlando and you're outside in January, it should be okay temperature-wise.
I agree.
So I would not like being in Orlando.
It can't be any worse than having WrestleMania in the beginning of April in New Jersey.
Or Philadelphia.
Very good point. Yes.
So there is one multiple-time Super Bowl champion wants a shot in WWE. Apparently, he's even contacted a superstar on the roster about making it happen at some point. One Travis Kelce, after seeing George Kittle at this year's WrestleMania throwing clotheslines and beating the crap out of The Miz, has actually contacted The Miz about possibly having a spot in a future wrestling event. What do you say about seeing Travis Kelce in a WWE ring?
Jay, a dream tag team of mine, if they were to transition from professional football to professional wrestling, would be George Kittle and Travis Kelce. Hell, do the whole stable and throw freaking Gronk in there.
Yeah. Why? The hype bro.
Oh, Mojo Rawley.
Yeah.
Oh, God, no.
No,
I'm good on that.
Four horsemen.
Or they could have Baron Corbin because, Baron Corbin played in the NFL.
Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah, I played in the NFL too, Baron Corbin.
Tim, I hope you'll join us in Philadelphia next year for WrestleMania.
Gronk, Kittle, and Kelce versus Chase U. I don't really hate Chase U that much. I actually find him rather entertaining. Duke Hudson, I still have no idea what to think about him. But that Andrew Chase guy, he's not terrible. He's built like a freaking 2x4.
Ho!
USA! 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 I'd get in the 3-point stance, but I don't think I would get up.
Right. I think this is another thing possibly that could have gone a little earlier in the show when we were talking about good things that happened in relation to professional wrestling this week. Sonya Deville's attempted kidnapper is going to be behind bars for the next 15 years. And then after he gets out, he will have another several years of probation, and he is not allowed to have direct or indirect contact with Sonya Deville or anybody related to her.
I forgot all about that. And I'm sorry that I did, because I was so happy when I saw that, because I actually saw the picture of her when they, told him the verdict of the 15 years, and they showed her the picture of her reaction to him getting the 15 years. I am so happy for Sonya Deville. I really am. I am a huge fan of hers. I've been a fan of her since her NXT days. Even back when she was known as Dario, whatever her last name, Dario Morgendorfer.
Oh wait, that was Lucha Underground.
Yeah. But again, I'm very happy for Sonya Deville, and I'm glad that this dude's going to be getting 15 years. See you later, pal.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yes.
One last thing I have in my notes is WWE reported their first quarter results as far as revenue and all those sorts of things. They reported $297.6 million in revenue during the first quarter. It was a slight drop from the year before, but last year they had a event in Saudi Arabia in the first quarter. And
Fair.
WrestleMania, I think, is technically not in the first quarter.
I don't think if it's in April, it's not. If it's in March, it is.
Right. So because of that, they were slightly down, but they talked about Raw and SmackDown are up 7% in the ratings in the past year, which cable TV in general in 16%. In television, I think in general, like regular old terrestrial television, we're not talking about watching online and watching through apps, is down several percent. Like I said, like 16%. WWE went up. It's because Vince wasn't booking. Thank you. So viewership is up. They said the attendance at live events in the first quarter was 37% larger than it had been. So clearly what they're doing on television is translating to people showing up more so at house shows. Oh, by the way, there is a house show in our area very soon up at the Hampton Coliseum.
Tempting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's that, and they said they broke a record for the WrestleMania gate, clearly 2 nights, allegedly 161,000 plus people in attendance between the 2 nights at SoFi Stadium. And they said they had $21.6 million at the gate. They also said that they broke their record for most merchandise sold, and the revenue is just off the chart, and they're actually projecting for quarter 2. Now, this would include WrestleMania. This would include going to Saudi Arabia, and I believe this also includes Money in the Bank. But they're projecting $395 million to $410 million in quarter 2. Again, compare that to $297.6 million in quarter 1. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
This company is making money hand over fist, and they have done some smart business moves, some that are not very principled, to say the least.
Yeah.
The merger is fine. The merger is completely fine. But, at this moment, WWE, again, more profitable than they were before. They're having their premium live events streamed by more people than ever before. They're seeing growth. As much as people like to compare the numbers of today versus like the Attitude Era, it's not the same thing. Just like baseball today, if you see the numbers for the World Series as far as TV ratings, they're crap compared to what they used to be. Even with NBA, it's not the same as it used to be. But guess what? Baseball games sell out. Almost all of them. What is a better metric? People watching on TV, people showing up and paying money. I think the better metric is people willingly paying money to go to that event.
Just remember, there was a point in time where it was not fun to be a Boston Red Sox fan. And during that time when it was not fun to be a Red Sox fan, they were selling out every single home game. They had like some astronomical, incredible record of consecutive sellouts. And they were trash. They were spending like percentage, like not even like a 1% of their payroll. They were spending like a quarter of their payrolls on pitchers like Brett Saberhagen.
Yeah.
So there was a time, and like look at with Oakland. Nobody's going to those games in Oakland. It almost looks like it was baseball games during COVID. There was nobody in the stands. Now they're talking about moving to Vegas. Nobody wants to show up.
But when you're talking wrestling here, they have had higher attendance at their live events that are bringing in more revenue, and they're selling more merch than basically they ever have. So you could talk about the TV ratings all you want. They're trying to expand globally, and they're clearly hitting enough notes with people out there to get them to spend money to go to the event, spend money on the T-shirt or whatever thing they want.
Yep.
And they're doing something right. For as much as we will talk about some booking decisions that are poor or lazy, in general, Triple H has done a good job with the book, and thus far after the merger, it definitely seems like when Vince said that he was not going to get in the weeds, it seems like he is not.
It does seem that way.
He'll make changes, but he is not like the overlord that he used to be.
Right.
Seems like it.
It appears that way.
Yeah.
They're going to make money. And it's funny, too, because we all sit here and talk about ratings for AEW. Because, they compare the ratings and like, oh, look at what AEW has done. They don't bring in this person or they lose this many. Like, there's over 1 million people watching The Big Bang Theory. And by the end of Dynamite, it's, 300,000 people are on there less. How you start a show with 920,000 with Orange Cassidy and Bandito, and you finish up with the guys who can't run a Target getting 700,000. But look at what they're doing with All In. They've already sold 60,000 tickets. I don't care what anybody says. I don't. That is impressive. These people saying, oh, it's a secondary market. Oh, Tony Khan bought this many tickets. I don't care. They sold 60,000 tickets. England, the United Kingdom, loves their professional wrestling. And this is the first time that AEW is coming to England. So this is a big deal. This is the first big wrestling show at the new Wembley Stadium.
Yeah.
This is, I don't really care who's on the card because this is a big deal. I'm glad that people because Jericho's going to get the exposure. You're bringing somebody with Jericho. This is great for all those people. Like, I'm glad that there's 60,000 people who are buying tickets for this. It was I know that I have my opinions about AEW and how I feel about them and everything. At the end of the day, I don't want to see them go under. I don't. Because competition is the best thing that could happen for professional wrestling. And it hasn't happened since WCW went under in 2001.
Yeah.
So I think this is great. They sold 60,000. Clash of the Castle only did 54 or 56, so they beat the numbers from Clash of the Castle. So they got to be doing something right. It's just not booking.
Right. Tim put Punk versus Goldberg. I dare on. Although I think I prefer the Brainless One's idea that we finally get that Goldberg versus Jericho match.
Oh, God, yes. I want Goldberg and Jericho. Give me Sting and Jericho. They've never wrestled against each other either. I'd love to see that.
I know Sting in general Sting has said he will not do another one-on-one match. I'm not going to say that he won't 100%. I think he might be able to be convinced if he's in there with the right opponent that he could do another one-on-one match. But for the most part, Sting, what his end game is, he's planning to retire this year. But if you want to go out there and have that one final match, have that blaze of glory in front of a large crowd, 60,000 tickets, man. I mean, that is extremely impressive. I mean, WWE doesn't even get that for the Royal Rumble.
Nope.
So, and they haven't announced a single damn match. So, good on Tony Khan for getting out there and getting things done.
Yes, I agree. It's incredible. 60,000. I'm happy for him.
So one very minor note I have before getting into things associated with Backlash that I have. I guess there are a couple, but Conor McGregor came out this week and mentioned that he wanted to take Paul Heyman to Suplex City. Do you think Conor McGregor can lift up Paul Heyman?
Yes.
It immediately made me think of when R-Truth broke Brock Lesnar when talking about the Royal Rumble and throwing out Paul Heyman over the top rope.
It's funny you mentioned that because I was on Reddit before the podcast. And one of the things I read was, the topic was, who's better at being a comedy act? Was it Santino or was it R-Truth? I have to say R-Truth just because it's R-Truth. R-Truth is the GOAT. CM Punk cost us the summer of R-Truth, and you can't tell me otherwise.
I think it's R-Truth, although I would say my favorite moments are more Santino, but if you're talking overall quality over an extended period of time, it's R-Truth. It's undeniable. R-Truth, since he came back to the WWE, over a decade ago, has just been a constant solid performer, even when he was heel R-Truth, smoking cigarettes and talking to an invisible little Jimmy. Like, even that's funny.
He was an hour up the road from me. I mean, right now, I mean, back then, no, I was in New Hampshire, Vermont, one of those two states. I always get those two mixed up. When he came out dressed as the Confederate soldier to the Saints go marching in, I still think that was one of the hardest I've ever. I fell off the bed. I was laughing so hard when I saw him do it because it was just gold. Everything he has done has been gold, and ever since then, it got ruined because of CM Punk.
Sad.
Come on, Jay. Him going into the Royal Rumble, bringing in a ladder and climbing that bitch, and there was no briefcase.
He has broken Brock more than anybody else.
I can't argue that. I mean, he's an absolute treasure. That's all I'm going to say. He's an absolute treasure. And I
can't wait to turn.
I can't either. And this is not to discount Santino, because for what Santino was hilarious. The power walk to the ring is still one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my entire life. He could talk. He was funny. He had a personality. You know, a former Intercontinental.
Santino. They literally, they should bring Tea Time with Santino back for tomorrow for the coronation of Charles. There should be a Tea Time with Santino.
Is Regal going to be there tomorrow?
He should be. He
is.
He's a lord.
He's going to come out there to his music, and then like halfway they're going to switch it. He's a man, such a man's man.
With a couple of buddies.
With a couple of buddies. Oh. Season 5 of Dark Side of the Ring. Big Josh and his buddies.
They weren't just bears.
They were a couple of buddies.
And Gary Michael needs to be the narrator for that episode.
He should be.
Yeah.
F. Marks Hall of Famer Gary Michael Capetta.
Yes. Yeah, other than that, we had the official announcement that we're going to have the 4 pillars at Double or Nothing. Again, I kind of don't understand the whole idea of having, you know, the match that they had originally to try to eliminate people, and then the other match to try to eliminate people, only to have them come back in. It sounds like Vince McMahon is booking AEW right now.
It's like the episode of South Park where all they did was copy The Simpsons. Simpsons did it. Simpsons did it. Simpsons did it.
Yeah.
And it was just, and every time it was Butters coming up with an evil plan to do something, and his buddy's like, "Yeah, well, Bart already did this in season 6." And it was just that's exactly what they're doing. You know, they don't. There's no. You know, they have a hot potato United States Championship. So what does AEW do? They do the same thing with the TNT title.
Yeah.
They're starting to do more promos and less wrestling. WWE did that first. The booking of the women's division, WWE shit on theirs first. Now AEW is doing the same thing. That's all they're doing. They're doing exactly what the Intercontinental title match was at WrestleMania and how they built that up. So, again, the only thing that AEW is doing that's not good is their booking.
Tony Khan, Booker of the Year.
2-time Booker of the Year.
I think 3-time. I mean, that is not as distinguished as the wettest hair Marquee Award.
Don't worry. The brainless one's going to make sure that Tony Khan has a very special Marquee Award this year.
All right. So One thing I know you spoke about that you want to get into a bit is the WWE draft. I definitely have a couple of things I got to say about this. All right. Why were some factions quasi split up only to put them back together? And why were some factions just kept together? Like, why was Rhea solo and then the rest of the Spooky Pals drafted same show? And why was it that you split the bloodline in half to kind of make it seem like, oh, we might be splitting them up. Oh, wait, we're not. We're not doing anything with that. Like, you're doing it to build like an hour of drama. Like come on.
That's when Raw went downhill, was after the Usos got drafted to SmackDown, though. It felt so anticlimactic when they were drafted back to SmackDown. It's like, oh, all that for nothing.
Tim, I think that could be a great marquee award for Tony Khan. Put that in your notes, Brainless One. Tony Khan gets the Herb Abrams Cocaine and Hookers Award.
Okay. I have another idea, too, but I like this one, too. Herb. I actually like this one better. Abrams. Coke.
I think he would have wanted to go.
Yeah.
Thanks, B. Brian Blair.
So Tony the Snowman. I thought it was interesting that they mentioned like factions and tag teams could be split up, and no tag teams really got split up. I think they learned their lesson after they broke up Heavy Machinery, and Otis is now flirting with Maximum Male Models after being in the shush. I need you all to shush, please. And then poor Tucker. I don't even know. Does Tucker even do anything anymore?
It used to be what Steaks and Weights. Now it's just steaks with Cassius Ono.
Oh no. I didn't understand why they did that. I don't understand why they had an overabundance of people getting moved to Raw in like this like special Saturday edition where the only things that went to SmackDown was they kept Hit Row and Lacey Evans. When Raw gets whoosh, down goes Frazier. Oh, that's why I got stuck in my notebook. That's stuck. That's fun. There we go. But like they got I mean, I know it's not like you're comparing. I'm comparing apples to oranges because it's Apollo Crews and JD. I mean, nothing against JD McDonough, but the Viking Raiders.
Allegedly, JD McDonough might become part of the Spooky Pals. Allegedly.
Because, like, look, I mean, this is the list of all the people who are on Raw. And then there's the people, like, this is the SmackDown, and that's the free agents. So not only was I able to get the SmackDown roster and the free agents on it, and then it took less space than it took me for the whole Raw roster. Yeah. See?
The top half is Raw. The bottom half is SmackDown. I understand there's a difference of 3 hours versus 2 hours from one show to the other. Chris Brown actually messaged me during the week saying that he heard possibly that SmackDown would be turned to 3 hours. The problem with that specifically is they have a contract with Fox for another year and a half, and Fox only has 2 hours of prime time. So the third hour would have to be either like on the cock, or it would need to be like somewhere else that is not Fox, because Fox does not control the 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. hour on their affiliates. So could they possibly do that in a year and a half when the rights deals are up? Maybe. I don't like the idea. 3 hours of Raw is already too much. But if Endeavor is just about the money and not the quality of the content that they're producing, then whatever.
What if? Now, hear me out. What if they take that hour that they put on Raw and got rid of it, and then they gave us a Saturday show at 6 o'clock to compete with Collision? That way, AEW and WWE could be on a collision towards each other.
I would rather see that than what we get, although I think a show on Saturday would be not much different than what we get on Main Event, if I'm being honest.
But I mean, honestly, if they did it right, it's like, all right, we're going to go. I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to put Main Event. So their main event is going to be CM Punk and Powerhouse Hobbs. And the main event for WWE is going to be Mustafa Ali versus Mansoor or Monsue of the Maximum Male Models. Brutus Creed versus Jinder Mahal. Is that what we're really going to go up against?
Yeah.
I don't know. But honestly, I mean, a lot of these, like, why did they switch to women's champions? Bianca had the Raw Championship for over a year. Why is she switching?
So she could break the record of the SmackDown Championship?
She's going to be on the same show as Charlotte. We all know what's going to happen there.
Right. I just think it's interesting that, like, Trish Stratus was actually drafted.
Yeah,
I'm surprised they didn't use the whole Brock Lesnar and Omos, like, oh, yes, her agent allowed her to sign a contract as a free agent. So clearly Trish is specifically going to be on Raw.
Well, she had to be on Raw. Why? She wasn't even she's not even part of the roster. She's a legend. She shouldn't have been available in this draft.
That'd be really almost Cena being available.
I mean, where was she drafted? Hold on, let me look at this. I'm Kuipering myself here now. Let's see here. She was the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Wait. Say his name right. Count Chocula.
Count Chocula. I'm going to Count Chocula myself. I mean, this is a hell of a steal here to get Trish Stratus here in the 7th round of night 2 of the draft. And no, it's so stupid. Obviously, Roman was going to be the first pick. Cody should have been the second pick like he was. Bianca, was the second pick, but then they went Becky Lynch. I didn't get that. And a lot of these picks didn't really make any sense. But the one thing that stood out for me, how in the world did Rick Boogs get drafted? Rick Boogs, who was wrestling against the Usos when he tore his ACL last year, or no, he tore his quad. And he went back to Raw. He was over there for maybe a couple of months with, breaking my heart by putting him with freaking Elias. But now he's back on SmackDown. He was drafted? Or was he drafted to Raw? Where is he? No, he was drafted. I'm sorry, he was drafted to Raw. Wasn't he? I lost Rick Boogs. Oh, there he is.
Got it somewhere in my list, somewhere here.
He was the last pick of SmackDown on night 2. How he would? No, I'm sorry. Cameron. No, there was 3 people that were drafted. What? Okay.
What?
How is Rick Boogs a draft pick? You didn't draft Omos. I get Omos wants to be a freaking free agent. He's just going to terrorize both rosters. Great. I fucking love that idea. I want to see more Omos. I really do. He's not going to get better unless you can go out there and he can prove that he can get better by getting in the ring. Let him work both shows. I actually like that idea. Elias? He got drafted over Elias. He got drafted over Johnny Gargano.
Ugh.
He got drafted over... Hold on. I got to read the rest of this.
I believe Dolph Ziggler.
No, Dolph Ziggler wasn't even drafted.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, he was. Yeah, he got drafted over Dolph Ziggler. He got drafted over Dolph Ziggler. Bobby Roode, Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt, Shelton Benjamin, Cedric Alexander, MVP.
MVP is with Omos.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
He got drafted over bum-ass Corbin.
Well, I mean, to be fair, bum-ass Corbin didn't win his first match until like this week in 2023. To be fair.
Jay, the fact that Rick Boogs got drafted got me to think.
What's that one?
And you and I both know.
Think if you don't have a brain.
Exactly. So the fact that when the wheels start churning on the brainless brain, shit happens. So it got me thinking. Could it be worse? Well, I actually thought of a top 10 of people I would have drafted before Rick Boogs.
All right.
All right. Number 10. Do you want to take a guess what number 1 is first?
Give me a few seconds.
What if? How about I'll rattle off the bottom half of the list.
Okay.
See if I can get the wheels turning and see if that'll get you in the direction because I could be going any direction here.
Yeah.
But number 10, Kona Reeves, the man who has more charisma than The Rock.
Allegedly.
Number 9, Eva Marie.
Oh, I mean, I'm definitely like at this pace right now. I'm feeling Nia Jax might be number 1.
Nia Jax is on this. I would never, ever no. But number 8, Kazarni.
Do you know that Kazarni and Gangrel are in a movie together with, I think, Paul London, and it's a vampire movie?
That sounds like the worst movie that was ever made.
And it sounds like it might be a fucking hoot.
Oh, boy. Speaking of a hoot, number 7, Matt Hardy 2.0. I mean, I know he could slam a tornado, but... Number 6, Uncle Phil from Hampton Roads Championship Wrestling.
I think part of CM Punk's tour, even though he doesn't know they're defunct at this moment, would actually involve Hampton Roads Championship Wrestling.
Really quickly, I forgot to mention it when we were talking about it earlier. Joey Janela, when he was asked about CM Punk going to GCW, the only time I've ever laughed at anything Joey Janela said, he said, I am not allowing him in the locker room until he's watched all the Rocky movies.
That is correct. I think I might like that more than when he sang God Bless the USA in front of Hulk Hogan and Brian Knobbs.
It's better than when he lit his foot on fire to do a super kick and then almost burned his leg off. Jelly Janelli. Number 5, El Gigante.
All right, this is my second. I'm going to Varner myself. I'm going to say Blow Up Doll might be number 1.
I wish. I didn't even think of that. That's good, though. Number 4, 2023, Ric Flair. The one that we saw almost die when he had to reattach his pacemaker. Ric Flair. Number 3, Primetime Brian Lee.
He's a GOAT. Honestly, I think, like, WWE has the Warrior Award. We should probably have something like that for our Hall of Fame. In primetime, Brian Lee should be like, I mean, he's already in the Hall of Fame for being in Clash 13 and for the outstanding contribution he made to that show to make it the show that it was.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It was all him and Ole Anderson. And Ole Anderson's in the WWE Hall of Fame, too, somehow. I think. Yeah. Number 2, Twinkle Toes.
Ooh, Tim, I like that pick. I
Didn't see what it is.
It is.
I lost my.
Just think of the Giant and Hulk Hogan, and there was a third member involved.
The Yeti?
Yes.
Oh, God.
It's the Yeti!
And, drumroll please, the number 1 person I would have drafted before Rick Boogs in the draft, Slapjack.
Oh, I can't wait till he comes back. He'll be welcome back with open arms.
Oh, yeah, open arms. And honestly, yeah. I think the draft is fun for what it is. I miss the days where it used to be the thing where when it actually meant something. When they would have it on Monday Night Raw and they would have the matches and whoever would win the match would get to pick for Raw or get to pick for SmackDown. And it wouldn't just be like, whoever's coming out to announce the pick. They would have the whole little dial thing and oh my God, Mr. Kennedy, would draft it to SmackDown. That was when it was.
Hey!
That was when the draft was fun. I used to love those. That was a guarantee. That was back when 3-hour Monday Night Raws were just a rare occasion, and I used to love it because I would stay up the whole 3 hours of Raw to watch the draft.
The most disappointing thing of the draft for me that was not Rick Boogs getting drafted related. Why on God's green earth was Teddy Long drafting for Raw? Playa.
I mean, it was either him or JBL, and they both. I mean, yes, I know JBL had a pretty decent run on Raw, but JBL was always associated with SmackDown as well. I mean, they're kind of hand in hand. So I guess that's why they did it. I don't know why, Jay. I can't explain why they did it.
He should have put WWE management in either a 6-man tag match or a match against The Undertaker for doing something that stupid.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I that and Rob Van Dam reading the draft picks upside down.
Well, I mean, when you're smoking an ounce of weed a week, I mean, it probably looks like it's the right way up.
Oh, I'll tell you right now, that dude is perma-baked, too, because I remember going to that Webster show, he was torched. And there's no way that he smoked because he had to pass a drug test to get into WWE at the time.
Yeah.
Yo, man, yeah, that's cool, man. I got to tell you a story. Man, I wish I brought some weed, RVD. I know you're going to be debuting tomorrow, but...
Let me tell you a story. Yeah?
Yeah? And the funny part was RVD announced the pick for Matt Riddle. I love how WWE, after all these years, is embracing the 420 cannabis scene. It's just, it's glorious.
It is. Yes.
But yeah, that was really the only things I had about the draft that I had to mention that, and I just can't believe Rick Boogs got drafted.
All right. Well, let us get into maybe some WWE Backlash. This would be, in general, what I would say, not the greatest build of all time. And I know that after WrestleMania, it's time for reset. And they do have some unique matches here. We have not seen Cody versus Brock Lesnar ever before. We have not seen Bad Bunny versus Damian Priest in a street fight before. We have not seen Rhea versus Zelina for the title before. So
Honestly,
big match. So
I was honestly when I was putting this card together, I was like, holy shit. I'm like, this is a pretty solid Backlash card.
And a lot of that comes down to the idea of they're going to a place that they haven't gone very often, and they're like, you want to have return business. If you put together a crap card, people aren't going to show back up. I think in general that's in part why they haven't gone back to Australia. They tried to put together an interesting card, but you have a bunch of people fly halfway around the world. Not much sleep and jet lag, and like have it in a giant stadium, and you have some bad matches, and you kind of kill it for a bit. But here they're in Puerto Rico, and they want to make a big splash here, so you get one of the biggest music stars in the world, if not the biggest music star in the world right now, who happens to love professional wrestling, who happens to be solid in the ring. I'm mildly shocked that they're like doing a one-on-one match, but good on him.
And
I think he's going to come through.
And it's crazy that you mentioned that, because the original plan was supposed to be Bad Bunny and Ray versus Damian Priest and Dominic, but WWE feels confident enough with Bad Bunny's abilities in the ring for him to go one-on-one. And I honestly think this is the perfect person for him to go one-on-one with, because he trained with Priest when they got into the match a couple years ago at WrestleMania. They appear to be friends in real life. I'm just telling you, that match is gonna rock. I cannot wait. That match is gonna be fun. And honestly, the whole card is gonna be a lot of fun.
I mean, I'm gonna say that I don't think it's gonna be quite on the level of entertaining as Zayn versus Johnny Knoxville, but I think it's gonna be pretty dang close. I think they're gonna gimmick it up enough and entertain enough that this is going to be something. This is going to be a spectacle. And as much as when Vince was completely in charge of the book, you don't win in your hometown, but Bad Bunny being a celebrity attraction, and I would put this as saying this is Puerto Rico getting WrestleMania. And you want to leave the fans going home happy. And I'm just throwing out my prediction right now that Bad Bunny is winning this match. I don't know how exactly he's winning this match.
He's my lock tomorrow. So I agree, Bad Bunny. And I want to mention it when I was putting the card together, since we're on the match, on my list it says Priest Bunny. Sounds like a bad joke.
Yeah.
Priest.
Hugh Hefner walks in the car and
what is it?
Anyway, do we see possibly maybe Carlito show up? Maybe his brother tries to sell some timeshares
In Puerto Rico. If they did something with them, I would be on board with it. I would love to see that.
Because the Colognes have a huge following in Puerto Rico. They were part of one of the most successful promotions on the island. I think they still are. They still run shows and they still do stuff. Is that something that gets involved? That way it negates whatever spooky pal activity we would get.
Oh, he's going to have the LWO. So he's going to have Ray. And he's going to have Santos Escobar. And he's going to have the rest of the crew. So
yeah. And Joaquin,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, Joaquin Wild or whatever.
Yeah. All right. So we got the Bloodline going against Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, and the original bro, Matt Riddle, in a 6-man tag match.
Now, is this a situation if the tag team champions lose clean, is it stupid?
No, because it's a 6-man tag match. It is not, you know, like, it's not quite the same as having a champion lose in a match that they're supposed to be, like, the best at.
Right.
So if they lose in a 6-person match, you could blame it on,
Bro. Yeah, Matt Riddle got too high before the match.
Right. But I feel that Bloodline is going to win this match.
I'm going to disagree with you, Jay. I think this is where we start to really see the cracks in the armor of the Bloodline. They played all of that on Monday in regards to the Usos and whether they were going to get drafted to SmackDown or not. I think that we're going to start seeing something. Paul said something to Solo on Friday, on Monday. Solo was supposed to do something. I don't know what, but whatever it is, it's going to happen tomorrow. I could feel it.
All right. So we got Chris Brown agreeing with you. All right. So we have Seth Rollins versus Omos. I'm sticking by my belief that Seth Rollins is going to be the first heavyweight champion, although Triple H mentioning the SmackDown superstars could be part of this match in my dream of LA Knight. Yeah. Winning heavyweight championship is still in play now. But if Seth is winning the heavyweight championship, he needs to win this match.
Agreed. And he really is the favorite of anybody that's going to be in this tournament to win it. I know that Cody's probably somehow, some way going to be in this tournament, but Seth's still the favorite to win it. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah.
Yeah. If we get LA Knight and Seth Rollins in the final, sign me up.
Yeah.
I know that they're in Saudi Arabia, but I will personally go on YouTube to watch that match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds like we've got a clean sweep for Seth Rollins. Alrighty then.
Alrighty then.
All right. So then we have the U.S. Championship on the line in a triple threat match. We have Austin Theory going against Bronson Reed versus Bobby Lashley. Honestly, Reed has really, I think, of all the people that Triple H brought back that Vince fired, has been the one that actually has like overperformed. I mean, there's something about his presence, the way he moves, and the things he does in the ring. As much as I'd love to see somebody like Reed win this match, I think it's too early to take the title off Theory. He is such a dickhead that you really want to see lose, but I think you can't have him lose until SummerSlam or Money in the Bank.
I agree.
I'm going to go with Austin Theory winning this match. It's not because Austin Theory does something outstanding. I think it's going to be similar to when he went against Rollins and Lashley, where one of the others has defeated the opponent opponent, and Theory just throws him out of the ring and does something like that.
He's going to pin Bronson Reed that way, and Bobby Lashley's going to get tossed out.
Yeah.
And Bobby Lashley's, and that's going to lead to them feuding because they're both on SmackDown now.
Right.
But I agree. Theory's winning this match. I 100%, exactly how you called it. You took the words literally out of my mouth.
Yes.
Literally.
All right. So then we got Bianca Belair versus Io Sky. Lock of the weekend for me. Bianca Belair is winning this match.
Not the lock, but I agree. Bianca Belair is winning this match.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, this match has the potential to be the best match of the night.
Yeah.
Don't get it twisted. Bianca is very good in the ring, and so is Io Sky. They're going.
How long did she have the NXT Women's Championship? It was about a year.
Yeah.
She had that brand together, that women's division together for a long time. She could go like no one's tomorrow, and they will have a great match. If which I think there are not a ton of matches here, but I believe Triple H wants to do the quality thing, and I think we will see a quality match with Io Sky, even though she has not been built up very well on the main roster. They let her go. This is going to be great.
Oh, absolutely. She is the most overlooked and underappreciated wrestler in the women's division.
Chris Brown saying he's going to go a step further and say when she loses damage control, implodes.
Okay. So he's got damage control imploding, and I have the bloodline imploding.
Okay.
Jay, you should just say that the Spooky Pals are going to implode after Damian Priest loses to a bunny. Spooky Pals. But then we want to get JD McDonough. We need JD McDonough in there, so.
Right. All right. Again, almost as much of a lock as anything this weekend. Rhea Ripley versus Zelina Vega.
And it has nothing to do with Zelina Vega and her quality as an in-ring performer. They're not taking the title off of Rhea Ripley that quickly.
Yeah, no doubt. Rhea Ripley is winning this match. And you know, it definitely feels like, you know, they gave, like, Zelina ended up being the I forgot what they called it. It wasn't Queen of the Ring, but whatever they called the Queen last year.
It was the Queen of the Ring.
But it felt like that was almost like a makeup for the fact that they didn't allow her to wrestle on, like, 20th anniversary of 9/11, you know, and her dad lost his life in 9/11. And it's like, oh, let's give her this thing. This feels a little bit like another thing, like, let's give this to Zelina. Oh, by the way, her husband happens to work for the other company, and let's do things for her to persuade her to stay here. On top of the fact, yes, that, you know, she is of Spanish heritage, doesn't hurt.
Oh, she's Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
That's why she's there. I mean, nothing against her. Honestly, nothing against Zelina Vega. I like Zelina Vega as a wrestler and as a performer. She's there having this match because she's Puerto Rican. I'm sorry.
And that's nothing against her talent. She is really talented. She is the person that got Andrade over.
Remember, this is they did the same thing with Clash at the Castle. They hammered it away with Sheamus, and they hammered it away with Drew McIntyre. Both two big, you know, UK wrestlers.
Yeah.
So, of course, they're going to do the same thing. That's why Priest is wrestling against Bad Bunny. That's why Zelina Vega is going to be there. I don't blame them. I'd be doing the same thing.
It's hard.
But but it's not just because of that. It's because she is talented enough to be in said match.
And I enjoy the fact that they are booking this as she's the under, and, like, she can't overcome the size. She doesn't have enough to defeat Rhea Ripley. I think they're going to make this like a competitive match.
Oh, they're
This
definitely
is
going
not
to.
like a squash. They're
No.
going to make Zelina look like she can hang.
Just remember, Zelina Vega beat Dewdrop in the finals of the Queen of the Ring.
Chris Brown is saying Rhea wins in 45 seconds.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, all right. And our main event, Cody Rhodes, not dashing, going against Brock Lesnar.
All I'm going to say for this, Jay, is how you know how I feel about Brock Lesnar. If I was walking down an alleyway and Michael Myers, Freddy, and Jason are one way and Brock's the other way, I take my chances with the three monsters. Brock Lesnar is an intimidating individual. However, of all the years that he has been in professional wrestling, UFC, the NFL, and everything else he's done, Brock Lesnar has never encountered Homelander.
He is not. He might get lasered.
Cody Rhodes is beating Brock Lesnar tomorrow. I don't know how he's going to do it. Cody Rhodes is beating Brock Lesnar tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, I get the feeling that it's going to be like whether it's like Chris Brown says by DQ, by countout. The thing I would say against disqualification would be we saw that with Bobby Lashley not that long ago with Brock. It would have to be outside interference that is not Brock Lesnar to make it happen. It can't be like Brock kicking him in the balls. It can't be Brock hitting him with a chair. Like, it would have to be something from outside, and I don't know where that would come from. But, you know, as Tim is saying, do we get some outside help for Cody Rhodes to defeat Brock?
Well, I mean, somebody predicted that Sammy or KO was going to turn on Sammy again. And that's only if Sami Zayn steals his last cupcake. That's the only way he's turning on Sammy. Yeah. But there's your help is Sammy and KO and Riddle.
So Cody wins this match, but it is not going to be a clean finish. That's my view.
No, they're going to do. It's going to be fuckery.
So are you?
Oh my goodness.
Cody.
It's Cody Rhodes. Yes, absolutely, Cody Rhodes. Adrenaline in my soul. I'm going to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So that is the card for WrestleMania Backlash. I'm looking forward to it. Even though a lot of these matches are pretty predictable, I think they're going to I don't know if it's going to be quite WrestleMania pyro, but I think they're really going to put on a show for Puerto Rico and try to make this, if not an annual thing, like every few years, end up going back there.
Oh, I would love to see that. Absolutely would love to see that. And I'll tell you right now, I'm really excited for Bad Bunny and Damian Priest. I'm just as excited for that match as I was for Sami Zayn and Johnny Knoxville at last year's WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And that one only slightly, minusculely disappointed me because of the mousetrap botch. That was it. Other than that, the match was fantastic.
It was. All right.
Is it time?
For the good, the bad, and the brainless. Yeah!
Yeah? So what do you got for your good this week, Cousin Jay?
I have to go, as much as I wanted to go with your memes for the 15th anniversary of Scott Steiner's math promo, as much as I really wanted to do that, I have to go with another 15-year thing. That is Sonya Deville's potential kidnapper going to jail for 15 years. Good on them for putting that MFer away. Leave these people the hell alone. It's that simple.
Yep. And thank you for that. I had a lot of fun. I was laughing my ass off when I was putting those together too. I mean, I do for most of them anyway, but that one I had an extra chuckle on Sunday when I was doing it.
And
I
things this week, a lot of good things that could have been the good, but to me, like, as much as it's like going, it's terrible that in this world that somebody does something so effed up that they have now put their life on pause for 15 years. Like, but that person going away for what they did, they deserve it.
Yes. And honestly, that would have been because I had two for this week, and I was one of them. And I'm glad you said it. So that means I can actually give my good to somebody that is also deserving. And this individual or group does not get this award very often from me, but my good for this week goes to AEW. Selling 60,000 tickets for the Wembley show for All In, that is fantastic. I don't care what anybody says about ratings and all that shit. That is freaking awesome. 60,000 seats, more than Clash at the Castle. So good on AEW for that. And every once in a while, it's nice for them to get the good instead of the bad and the brainless. What do you got for your bad?
I'm going with poor Indy Hartwell. Like, she wins the NXT championship. She gets drafted to the main roster, and then she gets injured where she is going to have to be out for a significant enough amount of time. Like, the pictures of her ankle are just, I've had an ankle that looked like that. It was not a quick recovery. Like, and with ankle injuries, unless you like break it, they take forever and they linger. It just was, it was, I feel bad for her. You know, she certainly worked a lot, and I appreciate the fact that they have drafted most of the way onto the same roster and may continue that as part of a storyline thing. But I feel bad for Indy Hartwell, kind of reaching a new career peak only to have it taken away.
Yeah. My bad for this week. Well, obviously, it's honestly, it was just the whole draft. It was, like I said, it was lackluster. It was anticlimactic. I would have made it just Rick Boogs getting drafted over everybody, or the fact that Von Wagner is on the main roster, but he's a free agent. Even Raw and SmackDown didn't want him, and NXT didn't want him anymore. But it just, the way that the draft was, it was just it was very confusing. Some of the picks were really ridiculous. Why are the Street Profits getting drafted ahead of the tag team champions? Why did one champion get drafted on one night for the women's and the other champion for the women's got drafted a different night? I hate when they do that with the swapping of the champions. It's stupid. So the WWE draft got my bad for this week.
Okay.
What do you got for Brainless?
I'm going with XPW and signing Tessa Blanchard. I'm all for giving people second chances, but she has gotten a few different chances and has proven herself to definitely feels like closed a book on that, because she's just done so much, said so much to feel like, and I'm not one of those folks that's like cancel culture and like, oh, they've done this one thing wrong, they're signed off for the rest of their life because they've done this one thing. She has shown herself enough to be a bad citizen in the professional wrestling community that she should spend longer away than she has. And my true hope is that she actually has changed, but I just don't feel that she has.
No.
I hope that, the stuff that's gone on has humbled her, but I don't think it has. So somebody signing her to a contract, even if it is short term, gets my brainless this week.
I understand, and I would have given that to them too, except for the fact that there was somebody a little bit more deserving of my brainless this week.
All right.
I was hoping for a clean sweep, but AEW gets my brainless for this week.
Okay.
They're doing this. Obviously, they're doing this wonderful storyline between the Outcasts and the originals of AEW, and apparently a week ago, Britt Baker got beat up and she got a black eye and everything, and they decided they were going to take the picture of Britt Baker with the black eye and everything and put it on a T-shirt and sell it on their T-shirt site. So people are buying this shirt, and it looks like they're endorsing, spousal abuse. It's not a good look. And the worst part is she was going on Twitter and trying to defend the shirt when they made the shirt. It's stupid. You promoted it, so obviously you want people to buy the shirt with your face on it. A picture of you with a black eye. People are going to look at your boyfriend a little weird, don't you think? You shouldn't sell. My whole thing is, you shouldn't sell a shirt like that, baby, if there's no context to it. It's one thing, because she was like, well, you guys had this shirt with Orange Cassidy's face on it. Orange Cassidy was standing there with sunglasses. Look, whatever. You have a black eye. Nobody knows that your opponents in professional wrestling gave you that black eye. People could think your boyfriend gave you that black eye. People could think that one of your patients gave you that black eye. It was just a bad, poorly taste shirt that AEW should not have made, and I had to mention it. It was stupid.
Not only was it stupid, it was
brainless. So if you like what you see, whether you are a first-time fan or a continuous fan, make sure you like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, and subscribe to us on YouTube at the letter T, the letter H, the letter E, the letter F, the letter N, MARKS, the F and Marks. If you like and follow, subscribe to us. We will do the same back. That has always been our
mantra. And make sure you set up notifications so that when we go live on Facebook, you would be notified that we are live. And make sure you subscribe to us on Spotify. So if you're not able to be here when we are live doing the show, that you will actually be able to listen to show and or watch the show on Spotify later on.
Yeah?
Yeah!
So before we do the last thing, Jay, this is a very momentous occasion on the podcast.
Okay.
This podcast is officially the last podcast of the original Brainless Thoughts.
Oh, all right.
I have completely filled up the notebook to the point where I actually had to do the notes for the show on my new notebook that I get to call probably Brainless Thoughts 2 or something more creative.
Right.
But I had to mention the fact that the OG notebook is on its way to Cooperstown. It may end up in the F and Marks Hall of Fame, but not like as an inductee. It just goes into the Hall of Fame with Uncle Ray's chicken wings. and and the two empty 40 bottles that I did Edward 40 hands with.
Which time? The second time?
Was really well. pick a
broke
time.
The record.
I did. The second time then. But
okay.
Yeah, a lot of memories. I'm very sad to see it go, but it was time to go. Time to bust out the new notebook, but I had to mention it. I'm sorry.
Okay.
But you know what? There's one more thing you have to mention. Curtis Axel. That's right, Brainless One. I am Curtis Axel. I'm sorry. I am F and Marks Hall of Famer Curtis Axel.
Yeah.
Cousin Jay and the Brainless One. Do you know today, Cinco de Mayo of 2023 that I, your first inaugural choice for the F. Marks Hall of Fame, Curtis Axel, for 3,022 days, I am still alive in the 2015 Royal Rumble.
Bow, 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 bow. Bow, 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 bow.
Yeah. So, for episode 311 of Everyone's Favorite Wrestling Podcast, the F. Marks.
I'm Jay, and he is
Brainless.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I am the brainless one. Make sure you mark out
with your guac out. See everyone. Enjoy SmackDown. Enjoy Backlash. We will speak with you again about pro wrestling next week. And you know, maybe you'll see things like memes and other things during the week.
Oh, you're definitely going to get the memes. And they'll be back on Monday. I had to do the special Sunday edition this week. It was too...
Lie!
You have no idea how long I've been waiting for that anniversary to pop up. As soon as I saw it, I dropped everything. Yeah. I had to do it. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And you might see me too.
Yeah.
Oh, Curtis Axel, it wouldn't be a podcast without you.
That's right. Anyway.
Later, everyone.
See you.
Later, Jay.
See you, cousin Bobby.
Yeah.